lately snow, because that's all it seems like we've had lately is snow and cold. We're here to officially kind of dedicate, even though they've been on the roads for some time now, the two large snow blowers that Erie County purchased to assist in heavy snow seasons. And it's a good thing we did because it's been a heavy snow season. When people think of snow blowers, they often think of the snow blowers that they push, but they don't think of big old beasts like this, but that's what we have here today. Our two massive snow blowers that we purchased for $2 million combined to assist us with removing of heavy snow drifts when we have the 3 to 4, or as we've seen lately, 6 feet of snow at various times. So I want to thank all for being here. We're, of course, joined by our Commissioner of Public Works, Bill Gary, and you'll be hearing from him as well soon. We are also joined by our Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Public Works in charge of our Highways Division, Karen Hoke. And then we have some friends who helped with this project, of course, from the manufacturer Wausau. We have Jean-Philippe Bourque, Mike Minucci, and Ricos Kasim. And from the Boyles Motor Services locally, we have Vinny Fanera, which helped with this project. In 2023, I announced that we were purchasing more equipment to help with snow. And we have a lot of equipment to help with snow. And we used to have some very big old snow blowers in Erie County's inventory, but age had just taken a toll on them. And we announced we were going to be buying snow blowers, and some people at that point kind of laughed. It's like, well, what's a snow blower that you push going to do a difference on a road when you've got 5 or 6 or 7 feet of snow? And I said, that's not the type of snow blowers we're buying. We are going to be buying large ones that you normally don't see here, but you might see in the Adirondacks, or you might see in the Rocky Mountains. Because what we found out is we've seen, starting in 2014 with a snowstorm that dropped 7 feet of snow, and then the most recent storms, of course, 2022 in November, another 7 feet of snow fell. 2022, we had the blizzard. And then, of course, we've had this season where it just hasn't seemed to stop snowing the whole year. So we knew we had to buy more equipment. And what we did is we set aside and I announced in 2023 at my State of the County that we were going to be purchasing some very large equipment to assist all of our highway divisions. And we purchased these two, which are stationed at our Concord and Hamburg barns. We're at the Harlem barns in the heart of Cheektowaga, but this is not the area that can often get 3 or 4 feet of snow at a time. As we saw earlier this year in Hamburg, where they had back-to-back storms in which they had 3 feet plus fall at a time, we know where these have to be. They're permanently stationed in our our Hamburg and Concord barns. But the nice thing about them is they can go anywhere in the county. So if we really had a bad snowstorm in the northern part of the county, we can move them up and use them where they need to be. I want to thank our commissioner and deputy commissioner for the work that it took to not only bid these out, but to ensure that we got the right equipment for our community, and we do. These are not brand new from a standpoint of we're unwrapping them and using them for the first time. They've been out for the last month or so at various parts of our county, assisting us in the snows. You don't normally see it in the urban areas, but if you live in the more rural areas or the suburban areas, you don't be surprised if you see one of these coming along the side of the road, taking off drifts and cutting through some thick snow, because these do what truthfully our snow plows can't do. Our plows cannot plow once it gets to a certain height of snow. We have to get in there with actual high lifts to lift the snow, or use a snow blower like this. So this gives us options that we didn't have in the past. We'll turn it over to our Commissioner of Public Works, Bill Gary, to talk a little bit more about the procurement process, how we ended up with these Wausau snow blowers, and how they're working. So, Commissioner?
Thank you, and thanks again to the team behind us. And there's also an immense amount of men and women within the Department of Public Works that make things like this happen on a daily basis. Procurement, so these are all handmade pieces of equipment. It's about a 15-month build time for each one of these. So that's when the county executive gave us the extra funding to go and start working on our snow fighting equipment inventory. It's a pretty long lead time to get something like this out on the road. So fortunately, again, this winter it's proven very useful already just on the maintenance side. But in the urban areas, like we saw in Snowvember of 2014 and in 2022, these pieces of equipment can be mobilized right away, get out there and get the most important piece of equipment, the tow trucks, to get the people that are stuck on the road access without us having to do a scoop and haul mission with the high lifts and the dump trucks. They've 700 horsepower. They can throw almost, I think, 6,000 pounds of snow a minute. It's amazing. And then like, we can be anywhere in the county because it could drive over the road just as fast as some of our plow trucks. So again, it's been on a great maintenance tool, opening up the roadways right now for snow storage in the southern half of the county, where we've been seeing significant snowfalls since probably the first of the year. I know the men and women that work in the department, driving the snow plows, operating the snow blowers, they've been going straight at it for that time, pushing 52 days here. So it's again, it's a great resource for us, but then it's also a regional resource. If in time of need, if Niagara County or some of our southern western New York counties, or even for that matter across the state, had to be using some extra help, the county can now support that mission, where before we'd wait for pieces of equipment like this to either come from downstate or up in the Adirondacks or even the airports, if they could allow it. But no longer do we have to rely on that. We are now self-sufficient internally. And again, it's just hats off to the county executive and getting the funding for these pieces of equipment. Thank you.
Can you spell your name for us, please?
Last name is Geary.
Thank you, Commissioner. There was a Buffalo News report just a couple days ago that talked about how the city of Buffalo is a little behind some of our other colleagues across New York State in snow totals, in which we had, I think it was 61 inches, they said, in the city of Buffalo, but that's what's measured at the airport. If you're in Hamburg or areas below in Erie County, they've easily had more than 100 inches of snow this year through multiple storms. It is not, it's more of a normal season than what we've seen the last few years, which have been a lot warmer. And that's why it's important that we have these pieces of equipment to handle those heavy snows. And then if it is a disaster and an emergency, to help break through and open up roads that might otherwise we would not be able to get through as quickly as possible. As we know, our goal in an emergency is to keep open the main routes that go between hospitals. So Abbott Road is a very important road for us in the South Towns to ensure that if you have an emergency in Orchard Park and Hamburg or areas south of that, you can get to Mercy Hospital. So we always have to ensure that Abbott Road is open, and it's not always an easy road to keep open in snowstorm emergencies. And this is going to help us in that regard just as much as it is for ensuring that we can use the full width of a road after we've had 2 to 3 feet of snow, so that we can clear out the stuff that builds up on the side, which is safer for all. And I want to thank everyone who played a role in this. I want to thank the team from Wausau for being here. I don't know if anybody wants to say a few words. We have Michael from their team.
Hi. I just like to want to thank the Buffalo, the county, for trusting us. Snowblowers are our specialty. We build all types of snow fighting equipment. So I just want to say thank you for encouraging us, and hope things can turn out pretty well. You've got our support.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. We don't know when the snow is going to stop this season. It's still February. We've seen some pretty bad storms in March, and we're prepared. And we are continuing to do what we can to ensure that the roads are clear. Before I open it up for questions, I know there will be a question about salt. You do see salt in the barn here. We are getting shipments. We are not at the level we'd like to be because of the salt shortage that's going on across right now the Northeast, and affecting the Midwest, because areas of the Midwest are requesting salt that never would have used salt before. But we have salt. We are trying to assist municipalities when we can. We've had a lot of requests from municipalities to provide them salt, and when we can provide some, we will. We can't do it every time because we have to ensure that our county roads are clear, and that's why we have to have a constant salt supply. And I want to thank the commissioner and the deputy commissioner, as well as the district engineers and the rest of the team from the Department of Public Works, for the work that they've done this year to ensure that the roads are clear. It's been a tough year. It's been one of those years where we usually get a few days off of having to clear snow, and then we can go out and do some other stuff, including putting cold patch down and clearing out other areas. We haven't really had that opportunity much this year because our drivers are out constantly clearing snow. Our teams are constantly working on that. So I want to thank the team from our Department of Public Works, some of them that are back there, for all the work that they put in this year. It has not been an easy year, and I thank you for what you've done. With that, I'll open up to any questions.
Does this come out of the general fund? The general
Uh, this is capital budget, but I don't know if it was borrowed. Yeah, we have a capital maintenance account that we borrow money for, and this came out of that. We use it for different things every year. We're buying trucks on average. We'll buy 5 trucks of those big trucks you see, which will distribute one each to our highway districts because there's 5 main highway districts. So that came out of that amount. You had a question?
Can you talk a little bit more about key features that snowmobiles provide and how effective are they for here in Erie County?
Key features. I'll turn that over. You want to talk about the particular feature, and if you could just introduce yourself and spell your name for them.
Sure. My name is Mike Minicucci, Minicucci. I am the department sales manager for this equipment for Wausau the Alamo Snow and Ice team. The key features on a unit, and depending on the needs of the customer, the city, the council, how fast they want to clear the snow, how quickly, how efficient, is what the requirements, or should I say, what we need to hear from the customer, so we can classify the type of equipment they need to clear their equipment fast. So in a unit like this that produces about 5,000 tons per hour, that is a very quick evacuation. So you get the whole city back running, back to normal. The merchants can go back to work. People go back on their streets. The transit starts to working. So it's a very important feature to have if you want quick, rapid clearing snow and efficiency.
They mentioned that some of them, like these machines, are mostly for rural areas. Can you talk about can they go up local streets or highways or both, or what does that look like?
I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take it. Well, there's limitations on any piece of equipment as to where it can go. There are certain trucks that we could not have, that we have in the county's fleet, that couldn't be used in the city of Buffalo because of the narrowness of the streets. We have limitations on this because of where it throws snow, and so this is not something that you normally would find on a side street in the city of Buffalo. Could it be used on a major thoroughfare? Yes, but then we also have to be careful where we're throwing snow. So it's not just throwing it because where the houses are and hitting houses as well, because when you can imagine with the strength of this, it's not just flopping the snow just out a few feet, it's sending it dozens of feet from where the actual equipment is. So we got to be careful in how we do it. And sometimes they'll actually have a truck driving alongside, so it'll dump the snow in the truck so that it's actually taking it, and then we can take the snow somewhere else. It depends on how it is. But it's not something that you're going to see in all likelihood clearing city of Buffalo streets because they're just too narrow and there's vehicles alongside of the road.
Another question, like will this, like snow blowers, reduce the amount of salt needed?
No.
That
No, it will not reduce the amount of salt needed. It just means that we have an opportunity to clear off more of the road itself from the snow. But we're still going to have to put salt down because it can get icy.
are there more plans to purchase more equipment like this in the future?
At this point, we think we're good for now. So, any other questions? All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks.